Hello, everybody. We're back. Welcome to round 3 of Mox Masters for January. We have had some amazing games of Magic featured in the first two pods, and I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how the leaderboard is shaping up after 2 rounds. So, today we have in first place Big Richie so far, Brian Barton in 2, Connor in 3, Liz B in 4, Subjective Reality in 5, Transformatron in 6, Fervent Alchemist in 7, Young Scipio 8, Zane 9, Fonzie 10, Thras Oracle 11. Good job, Tanner. Very proud of you. Christopher K. Claw 12. I Love Bacon 610 13. Sky 2203 14. Beaks 6039 is number 15, and Nico Wonderland is as number 16. Currently, there's only one person with 5 points in the top 16, so there is a pretty big 5-point peloton building. It is actually like several pages of results of 5-point people. So we are in the point where it is still everyone is live still, and we're having such a good time.
It's
Adam,
anybody's game. Anybody's
yeah,
game still.
it's anybody's game still. Adam, in the coming pod we have Malcolm Tana, Marnius Calgar, Rogsai, and Tevish Thrasios. What should we look for in the first few turns out of these decks? Any insights?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Malcolm Tana, I think we're like any other Malcolm deck, we're going to try to develop an early Malcolm as soon as possible. Marnius Calgar is a really cool Esper list that likes to play like other Esper decks, kind of like um, Malcolm Timna and things like that, where it tries to develop a lot of early mana really consistently in the beginning, get things down like a Smothering Tithe and cards that really accrue a lot of mana because it's an infinite mana outlet that tries to win with like Scepter lines. So I think you're going to see a lot of early fast mana from decks like that. Same with Rograk Silas trying to dump their hand and go as deep as they can. And then with Tevishat Thrasios, it's a really grindy deck. It likes to get out grind engines, get out Tevishat as soon as possible, and just accrue card advantage over the rest of the table. It plays a lot like a Curious Control type of list, but kind of demands an answer. So I'm really excited to see how a pod like this is going to play out.
Yeah, it tends to be. I've played some Tevish Thrasios. It tends to be very adaptable, and I think a thing that people don't look at as much is with the printing of Displacer Kitten, blue decks containing Tevish got like a pretty big push. It looks like
Upgrade. Yeah.
yeah, an upgrade.
We're starting here. Yeah.
It looks like we are underway, so I think we're going to transition to that place slowly. There we are. I mean, soon is what I meant, not slowly. Okay, so we have a Windswept Heath into a tropical island out of Drunken Josh. I'm assuming a Mana Crypt is going to follow it. Followed by... Oh, it's going to be a dork. Oh, a fish. All right, sweet.
Oh, Remora.
Mystic Remora turn 1 is a pretty good play.
Yeah, tables passing on it, especially leading into decks like Marnius Calgar and Rograk Silas.
Yeah.
You're just forcing the table to kind of play a little bit differently or feed you cards, which for a deck like Malcolm Tana is all that you could ask for. So we're going to see here if these players change their play styles, try to play a little bit more responsibly, or if they feed this fish and kind of disrespect the Malcolm Tana deck, which for a while people were considering a deck that shouldn't be as highly regarded as it was. And then it showed up at Silicon Dynasty and put up numbers. Cal from Playing with Power making the top 16.
I mean,
shouts out to Cal. Way to go with that.
Elder Drunken Josh top 16 Punt City
really
too. With it.
Oh yeah, playing Tropical Pirates as well. Yeah. So and it looks like the players are kind of electing to play more responsibly here. You have a land go from Marnius Calgar, and you have a land pass from the Rogside player after casting Rograk. So interesting to see if Chill Bill adopts the same type of play pattern, or if they're going to play a little bit more aggressively. Now, if Josh kept lands with this Mystic Remora, you can just sit by and bide your time here. I wonder if that's the game plan here. If we're going to try to play something really aggressive
Then
on
I'd
turn
like
one here,
to
Chill Bill
Well,
starting off with an
cast
ancient tomb.
Adam, I recently saw a
Oh, we're
take on
feeding
the
the fish a
internet.
bit.
Oh, we're feeding the fish. I love that. Adam, I recently saw a take on the internet that said
and I discard Jupiter's Prince.
Malcolm Tana is actually the turbo version of the deck.
Yes.
And I see that it regularly puts up turn 2 and turn 3 win attempts.
Yep.
I think feeding this fish is it's playing with fire a little bit. There's a chance that Josh doesn't develop, but Malcolm Tana explodes into the board. And look, we're making our land drops. We're paying for the fish. We now have a Mox Diamond, which means this fish could
Yep.
stay around
Yep.
for many more turns.
At least 2 more turns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dumping the
Yeah, I
stomping
actually
ground.
don't
Yeah,
disagree with that take. Malcolm Tana is super fast, and it develops the Glenhorn probably faster than any other version of the deck,
yeah.
just because you get to EE into it, Neoform into it. You get to do a lot of different effects that just put your Glenhorn into play over a lot of other strategies
Yeah.
that utilize the Malcolm Glenhorn combo. So I definitely do think it's kind of dangerous to feed this fish here. You're a little safe with the Malcolm not being on the board, but here you can see we're ritualing into the Malcolm.
And we're making a
So
blue and a red, casting a red
just
flame and ritualing into. Yeah.
Pass on Malcolm.
yeah.
This to me
So Josh is
signifies a
just
turn
saying
3
like
win attempt.
basically
Yeah.
yeah, I mean you kept him. This would be a gas hand, you know. You kept a turn 1 fish into turn 2 Malcolm into turn 3 Glenhorn.
Yeah.
And as we know how CDH plays out, creatures are virtually uncounterable. So
It really feels like it,
it's
doesn't it?
there's
Eh.
that's Zane and
Nice
Vasher. They're two of
surprise.
the original like primer authors for Malcolm Tana, and that's like a statement that they use all the time. Is like
Oh,
creatures are uncounterable, which is why you like Malcolm Glenhorn.
we
So
have a,
we'll see
yeah,
though. Look at the table now, deciding we're gonna feed the fish with our own fish from
with
Fade
our
and
own
Waffle
fish.
on
Yeah.
Marnius Calgar. We must have just drawn that for turn.
I would like to fetch. Do that.
My
And
dog is
to
on
create
the
a shortcut, I would
on the
like to
counter.
cast a vampire
Hello,
draw.
Juno.
Sure.
Yeah, you're.
Alright. No response after that to your fish.
Mhm.
I have a response to your
Uh,
Mystic Aurora.
yeah, we're dealing with some connection issues on Adam's end. We're reconnecting him shortly. It looks like there was some crosstalk because there's a delay in the Zoom. So we're just reconnecting. Sad nose. Fish trigger on the stack. An offer you can't refuse coming down on
I mean, I can't
a
refuse the offer, so I'll take it. Swan Song is counted.
Swan Song. We're gonna get 2 treasures. Oh, we're defending the fish. The offer is defending their own fish. Okay.
Interesting. I hope that this is better. Okay. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Hey, Scott, good to see you. Fancy seeing you
Yeah, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you with your 5-second delay. My bad.
here. No worries.
The fish is countered.
The fish is getting countered. Oh, we're
There
getting a
was
2/2 bird out of the deal.
so there was an offer you can't refuse targeting the
So the fish is
targeting.
counted and you pass the turn.
Oh, there's a swan song targeting the fish, and then there was an offer you can't refuse targeting the swan song, and then
This
Josh
is
mental
counted, goes on top
misstepped
from my
the
vampire.
offer over top, and that was all for one person's Mystic Remora. Josh drew,
Josh just drawing so many cards
yeah,
off
Josh
of
drew
that.
3 cards in the Mystic Remora on the stack exchange.
Yeah.
Mystic Remora, very good card. Going
1, 2,
first,
3.
also very good.
2, 3, 1.
So now we're moving into Duke's
This
turn.
goes on top.
Duke
Having
Niner.
resolved the
Tap,
Vampire
I would
Tutor,
like to draw. Do
a
that.
mystery card.
Do that. And then I have Wooded Foothills I'd like to fetch.
Yeah, so I
Pass
wonder
fish.
what we tutored for in this seat position here. Giving Josh a card to get a tutor
So
I have an
is
idea.
is a pretty interesting play line.
So I'm looking at the board texture right now, and I think Rograk Silas, generally because please don't hurt me, Flaunty Golem. Generally, Rograk Silas would like to resolve some form of card advantage early. And if they have a tutor, they could probably do that. What be that a wheel, a Rhystic Study, their own Mystic Remora, anything like that. Um, but they definitely want to resolve card acceleration and then mana acceleration. I think that's the priority that they do it in, unless they have gas. But
Yeah, I'm wondering because we kept a pretty high hand count from Duke Niner. If maybe we aren't going to respect the Mystic Remora now, considering
it
the rest of
feels
the
like
table
it. Yeah.
hasn't. So now you feel obligated. You know, that's kind of how this card works, Mystic Remora, is that
Yeah.
as soon as one player doesn't respect it anymore, neither does the rest of the table. And you can see here we have a Culling the Weak on
Calling
the
on
Rograk.
Rograk.
You can draw.
Is this?
There was a lot of interaction used on the Mystic Remora on Freedom Waffles turn here, so I think that maybe you feel slightly better to go for it here. As
Ad nauseam.
yeah,
Put an Adnos on the stack, yeah.
You can draw.
Keeping a turn 2 Adnos is pretty good for Duke Niner. Josh has drawn a lot of cards. The only counterspell he's spent so far has been a mental misstep. Does he have something for the Adnos here? Looks like a Forcible is going
here's
to
the
come out of his
Forcible coming
hand.
down. What are we pitching?
Ooh,
Alchemist
getting rid of
Retrieval.
Alchemist Retrieval. Lots of interaction in Josh's hand here.
Yeah.
Then I pass.
Yeah, that might have been the window to go for it, but Josh has drawn so many cards here that the odds of him not having a single piece of interaction are pretty low.
It was not a bad window though, with Josh tapped out and a few interactive spells having been blown already.
I think the odds are still in your favor in that scenario when you're going for it there. And you can see we only have 3 cards left in hand.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a better opportunity to do it, unless you wanted to wait for maybe Josh to attempt to win first and try to protect it and go on top of it with a Nas.
Yeah, that is a thing that could happen. Like if Josh went for Glenhorn on his next turn, Duke could have nosed in response. And again, we saw Z-Rob do that in the last round to convince the table that this nos needs to happen. It's the best counterspell in the format.
Yeah, I don't know if
we could
that.
have seen that.
I don't know if it stops Josh from casting his Force of Will, but maybe someone tries to stop the Glenhorn and he's forced to protect it, and you can go over top. But it looks like Chill Bill is just getting their Thrasios out here, developing with what little they can before we move on to Josh's turn. Josh is paying for fish, which is usually a sign that maybe we don't have the win in hand right now, but we could be mistaken. We could see some fast mana in some way to get Glenhorn onto the battlefield. Maybe a dork, and our plan is to EE into something bigger later.
Perhaps a Lotus Petal, and we've already used our Rite of Flame, but there's so much acceleration in the deck that I would be surprised if Josh didn't just develop his board here. He's played a little bit of control, and I think that he can, with his 2/2 at the moment, be the beatdown.
100%, yeah. Drake, for those of you that don't know, when we reference the beatdown, Drake did a really in-depth podcast with Eminence T.O. Mikey about who's the beatdown, talking about an article from the modern era, talking about like when it's the right time to be the aggressor and to be the control player at the table. Josh, in this instance, very much so being the beatdown.
Glory of the King's Throne. Okay.
The Yu-Gi-Oh
card, yeah, as the treasure.
Yeah. So yeah, very much kind of taking control over this game is Josh here. I wonder if Chill Bill and Duke Niner know each other. They have a pretty similar layout there on their playmats with their OBS.
I think, if I'm not correct, if I'm not incorrect, I think they are both members of either Oops All Salt or another streaming group.
Let me check these names, because I should, if they're from Oops, I should know them. Oh no, it's the same names. Ugh, I don't know. But yeah, this is I like this layout a little bit. Helps organize your board state pretty well and keep things clean.
Yeah.
moving
That's
to
correct.
Freedom Waffle's turn on Marnius Calgar, kind of like what I alluded to earlier in the game here. You see the mana crypt coming down now, some of that early acceleration. I anticipate that maybe Waffle had this mana crypt for a while here and just didn't want to cast it into the
Don't want to
fish.
cast it. Yeah.
Yeah, but now that the rest of the table is just feeding Josh relentlessly, that there's no
Yeah.
point in not doing it. Josh got a spell skite down too on his turn, which means now this combo is even harder to interact with.
Yeah. Spellskite. I play a lot of Malcolm. Spellskite. You will never get me to cut it. If there is one Spellskite fan, I am it. If there are 0 Spellskite fans, I have died.
Yeah, Spellskite in decks like this, decks that are really centric on protecting a commander or a specific piece of a combo, usually demand an answer. And if you don't deal with the Spellskite before Josh's next turn, he could honestly have just been setting up for the perfect protected win, which is really, really hard to deal with. Looks like we're back on to Chill Bill's turn as well here.
Yeah, it looks like we've gone to Chill Bills. We recast Rograk from Duke 9R.
I cast also mana crypt.
G-Toast in the chat, noted Goto player saying red Spellskite win.
Yeah.
It's called Ricochet Trap.
You can see here all the players at the table having fast mana that they maybe didn't want to play initially. Yeah. The mana crypt coming down from Chill Bill here as well, just giving Josh more cards from that Mystic Remora. Josh moving to his turn, looks like, and letting the Remora die.
Chill Bill notably leaving up Thrasios activation plus 2 mana for interaction, but I think this is tapping out for Glinthorn.
Yep, here's the Glinthorn. Josh is such a confident player and is really good with this like protected wins and developing a board state that's super hard to interact with. Just biding time, saying like, hey, I could Malcolm Glinthorn on turn 2, but how about I just wait till turn 3? I can put a Spellskite down and no one can deal with it.
Yeah, it's just
when you go to combat, okay, he has to attack, and when he's
the players here are politicking,
trying to figure out the trigger.
Yeah, the Glinthorn trigger, saying should we respond before combat, declare attackers, at what point?
Josh is very smart. Don't say anything. Let them figure it out. You're not obligated to say anything.
Sadnaw's MTG in the chat saying this demonstrates the power of Remora once again.
It certainly does. Mystic Remora, good card as it turns out. Again,
when I activate Thrasios now, I can't play my interaction in my
Yeah,
head.
interesting. So
as long as we have 2 ways to deal with
so Chill Bill revealing that they have some interaction in their hand, stating to the table.
If they activate Thrasios, they can't play it.
Yeah.
What do they have?
One of those? Yeah.
One of those? Yeah.
All right. So it looks like Josh is attempting to move to combat here.
I have tap this for blue to.
And Chill Bill is tapping 4 mana. Oh, nope, 3 mana.
You know, this is channel. Ooh, that's tough. We'll just activate Spellskite.
Yeah, right. You just activate your Spellskite. If you have protection for another thing, you hold on to it.
That's a reason.
I'll pay 2 life and change the target to Spellskite. You're good, Tup. I just wanted to make sure that
he saw the line.
I
just wanted to make sure that he saw the line.
We're listening very closely as Josh says, I'll pay 2 life.
I'll pay 2 life.
Change the target to Spellskite. So Spellskite's bouncing back to hand, thanks to the Otawara here. And now it looks like Freedom Waffle is going to cast a Swords to Plowshares. Path, my bad.
Path, targeting probably the Glinthorn Buccaneer. I think it technically has to be, but we have a treasure. So we're going to defend it. Okay.
What is that?
It's a March of Swirling Mist.
Oh,
exiling a snap. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's March exiling snap to target Glinthorn Buccaneer.
Sure you dislike him that much? Oh, that's sad. One question I'm still confused about X spells on the stack. The currently CMC of it is.
They're asking some questions here about X spells on the stack.
The CMC of it is 3. because it is blue and X is equal to 2.
I will.
So we're
pass
marching our
on
own Glenhorn here in order for it not to get exiled.
Yeah.
And but it'll phase
Pass on
out.
March too.
Cool.
And
Yep.
then when does it it comes back into play?
At the end of at the beginning of his next turn.
Banish the glint.
Yeah.
Okay, so the table has some time to prepare for the Glinthorn win attempt next turn. But wow, 2 removal spells already spent here. We know that a tutor was already used by Duke 9R. The table's going to have to plan for this because
this is the power of Spellskite at work. The power of Spellskite Manifest is it gets around that Odawara.
Yeah, absolutely. And Spellskite being
in my second main phase
2 CMC, unless Josh has another way to generate some mana, like getting that Spellskite down again would be pretty huge.
Yeah. Pure mid-range.
Oh, so
Chill Bill. I don't play Adnos. Everybody says that. But you play Necropotence, you play Pyrrhus, you play Bolus the Citadel. Every time you say you don't play Adnos, you still are playing black and generating card advantage with your life total.
This is not a win attempt.
Yeah, so you can see here now, Freedom Waffle tutoring for a mystical, or using a mystical tutor here to grab something out of their library. Do you think they get an answer for Glenhorn, or do you think they try to progress their own board state?
I think they try to win.
Yeah.
That's
Cabal Ritual.
Oh, saying that they think they're going to get Cabal Ritual. This sounds
Yeah.
like an Adnos, maybe. Ooh.
Oh
Marnius
no.
Calgar.
Who would cast that?
It's a dramatic reversal list, which it's a hard combo to try to assemble, but this is pretty exciting if they can pull this off. I'd be pretty impressed here. A lot of interaction has been wasted at the table, so.
Woodland Deckhouse in the chat. I love you too. Thanks for hello.
Oh, Woodland Deckhouse. Yes, thank you. The Pie Overlord in chat saying, calling it, someone's going to try to win instead of dealing with Malcolm.
Much like Thanos snapping, it is inevitable.
All right, let's see if Freedom Awful can pull this one out here. We know they have a Cabal Ritual on top.
Yep.
They're going through very slowly as if they expect someone to silence them.
Oh, they're moving quick now, though. Floating a colorless Cabal Ritual. They don't have
They
Threshold.
do not have Threshold.
The 3
black, colorless floating.
Oh.
Demonic tutor. Okay.
Did we tutor to tutor?
Are we assembling?
Oh, we're getting Ristic. Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
So
that is a line.
So this is a line of play that I do know that a lot of players have been pivoting to, where it's like, hey, just get a Ristic study on the battlefield because it'll get you out of a lot of other situations, especially if you can convince the table, like, hey, we're going to die to this Malcolm Glenhorn. You guys have to draw me some cards if you want me to look for an answer for this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this will pan out here unless the rest of the table has other answers, because they're pretty low in card count. I don't know how much they'll be able to feed Waffle's Ristic here.
Right.
I'll block the Glinthorn, and then he wouldn't have enough mana.
Keep saying that.
Yeah, they're talking about the Glenhorn line.
Yeah,
and I don't think they.
It'll be Spellskite again, and he can just.
I don't think they're getting it quite right. But
no, they. It seems like the scheming is I mean, it's good to talk about these things. It's great to like see what your options are. But again, Josh, doing the correct thing and shutting up.
He's just not. Yeah, he's not going to give them any information about his line.
Say anything. Yeah. If there's anything that I can tell tournament players, do not tell people how your wins work.
I'm just gonna.
And you're not obligated to either.
Yeah, just don't.
Hey man, how are you gonna win the game? I don't know. Let's find out.
I don't know. We can learn together. Dark Ritual from Chill Bill.
Into Time Twister?
Sorry, I saw the card because you said you weren't paying.
Just because you can, I guess.
I'm just letting you know because I did see it.
So I have 3 black and 1 colorless floating.
So
And this is tapped. I'm sorry.
3 black and a colorless and 2 colorless floating. So
from Chill Bill here,
Chill
Time
Bill.
Twister on the stack from Duke 9R. This could honestly be worse for the table. Because even though we know Josh has Spellskite, he could draw into more interaction to protect his win.
it looks like it is resolved.
So all these
Yeah.
So Twister ostensibly to get rid of the Spellskite here. I think that I think that's a fine play. I think it's a fine play.
No,
I think
it's
good.
the correct play here because like you are low on card counts with your opponents, and you know Josh is attempting a win, so it's like you have what 21 cards versus 7.
Plus, you have so much gas.
Yay!
In Rob Grax Silas, you develop off of a wheel. I think better than the other decks at the table.
The only downside though is that this Glenhorn isn't going to be cast.
You know,
getting
it's just
phased
gonna
in.
exist. Yeah.
So like, there's no you have to hit removal here with the Time Twister.
I suppose you make the Path to Exile live again, but Freedom Waffle, notably the person who could
cast it,
interact, via Source of Plowshares or Path to Exile. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, in the chat, the Dark Ritualist, the Shuffle Cam. Yeah, there's a couple people running it today. It's very good. It helps to, number one, ensure that your opponents can always see what you're doing, and number two, remove any possible allegations of you manipulating your hand outside of the camera if you can always see it.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier too because you don't have to be so direct with how you hold your hand on camera because your opponents can always see your cards in hand.
That is that is the compromise of webcam. Like if you're going to do these webcam tournaments, you have to be zoomed out enough that your opponents can always see your hand, because we have seen instances of people not following the rules.
You can see here how all these opponents hold their hands. They have to keep them within the view of the camera, and because of Duke 9R's camera, he's able to hold his hand more comfortably like he normally would, because you can see it and you know that he's not doing anything behind anybody's back.
Yes, I'm encouraging people to not explain how their wins work. Yes.
No, so Sam Shire, what we're saying is that when you're winning the game, explain your win. But when your opponents are trying to ask you how to interact with your win, you don't need to tell them anything.
Yeah, you don't need to explain how your win works when it's on the stack or hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
If you are presenting a Gitrog loop, then yes, you have to, in fact, in a tournament setting, explain your game actions.
Yeah, but, I'm glad G-Toast is...
it's perfectly concise. Thank you, G-Toast99 in the chat. Explain your game actions, and that is it.
Yeah, so, oh, wow. So we got some good reporting here for match reports. Zane has won their pod. Again, so Zane is 201 on the day.
201 intentional draw round 2, the new play.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Other than that, it looks like you have Fusion
Entropy.
won, Quentin won their pod, and a few other players.
Entropy, Fusion, and Zippy?
Zippy.
Is that how you pronounce that?
I hope so.
Zippy?
So we're on to Chill Bill's turn here. Duke 9R played a Soul Ring and a Paradise Mantle after the Time Twister resolution. Chill is fetching with a Polluted Delta here. They have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana available to them. They have a land shortcutted onto the battlefield off of the Polluted Delta. We're going to see what they do with all this mana here.
The Ancient Tomb, I would like to cast a Grim Tutor, so...
Zane, turn 1 manual Breach Loop with Lotus Petal into a Remora and still won. Holy moly. Thrash Oracle in the chat pointing that out. That's...
Sure, why not?
Wow, that's crazy. That is the perfect combination of luck and skill.
Yeah. Zane continues to impress.
Yeah.
So we are casting a Grim Tutor on Chill Bill's board here. Grim Tutor seeing a lot more play in cedh decks in the meta, specifically 3-color and lower. They really love their Grim Tutors. especially when you,
great.
yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of access to some of the best tutors in the game, like Enlightened Tutor when you're playing lower color lists and things like that, some of the really low CMC tutors. So just getting another demonic tutor for 1 more mana isn't that bad.
Yeah, I mean, unconditional tutors, despite the 3 damage, are pretty good. I've even seen people go so far as to try Dark Petition as an unconditional tutor.
Yes,
Uh,
that is some spice, I will say.
I mean, it basically works out to demonic tutor.
Yeah.
Gives you 3 black. So
Then I'll pass it to
While we're
Sven.
resolving this Grim tutor
Just
here,
arrived.
it's probably a good time to mention
I
some
haven't here.
amazing
That's
things
tutor
going
card.
on with
I
the
just
Playing
need
with
to find
Power
100 grams.
crew.
I think it
So,
is.
to start off with, if you go to Playing with Power's merchandise store, sales are 10% off through the end of January as long as you use promo code MOXMastersJanuary. That's right, 10% off all merchandise through the end of January with promo code MOXMastersJanuary.
Don't have it.
Other than that, they have recently revamped their Patreon
I have to.
to include league
sorry.
play for free within the Playing with Power server. So you can join the Playing with Power leagues and you can earn points from league games and league placements, as well as through Mox Masters events that go towards your Mox Masters Invitational at the end of the year in Q3 of 2023, where the players with certain points, point number, point scale will be invited to go to this in-person CDH event being held by Playing with Power. So that's a huge thing, the first tournament of its kind like this. So you can utilize that new Patreon, get into Playing with Power leagues, play for free, and earn points towards your invitation to that event. So really cool stuff happening with Playing with Power. And there's going to be a special announcement from Playing with Power later today. So make sure that you stay tuned and watch the entire stream. There's one more round of Swiss after this one, and then we make our cut into the top 16 and or 2 more rounds of Swiss.
2 more
my
rounds
bad.
of Swiss, yeah.
We have 1 more round of Swiss.
We have 1 more.
And then there's Playing with Power will be taking over the rest of the stream.
Glenhorn Buccaneer exists again. We've untapped. Glenhorn Buccaneer exists. A Deadly Rollick.
Oh, trying to exile the Glenhorn once again here.
We're
Did
trying to
Josh
kill that
draw
boy.
into the interaction to protect it?
4 mana? Hope, for him, I hope.
I'd like to show you a Pact of Negation.
Hey!
Oh, a Pact of Negation. We're not playing around on Josh's board.
This is upkeep, yes, I believe.
Freedom Waffle here, very confidently pointing out the heuristic study triggers, makes me curious. Like they may have some piece of interaction to protect, but it looks like the pact is resolving, and now the Glenhorn is on the battlefield.
Looks like it.
We'll go to my draw step now.
Scoop Phase in the chat quoting, "I'd like to show you this." That's exactly what Josh said.
Yep.
I'd like to show you this Pact of Negation.
Would you like to eat this instead?
Playing our land for turn. Josh playing pretty methodically here. I wonder if we'll have any more responses when we attempt to move to combat.
Go to combat.
Any other responses? Now's the time or we're dead.
All right, the table asking.
Freedom
any
Waffle
responses?
asking, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to declare Malcolm.
We've gotten to declare attackers, which means given the amount of mana that Josh has in play and the amount of cards in hand, it would take 2 pieces of interaction to stop Glenhorn Buccaneer from going off here, because we've already declared attackers.
Yeah, we are in combat. Therefore, Glenhorn Buccaneer is live.
We have 4 mana, so Glenhorn Buccaneer is live, and I do think that the life disparity, you get, I think you have just enough. 26 life is low-ish, but we're at 25 now. I think it's just enough. But even if it isn't, what you do is you could just kill him with discarding to.
What the game.
There were no counter spells in sight, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, basically.
See,
Yeah,
Or-
it's more than enough to
yeah,
follow
'cause
the line.
So
I forgot.
it'll
the
kill
spiral
Chill
blast.
Bill at
No!
25, and then it will go
Okay.
even. So
Yeah, nice.
they'll basically net.
Was fun. Good luck.
Yeah, they'll net
So
25
real
extra
quick
treasures.
there.
Never mind, they have tons of.
Yeah.
Look, everyone.
We used to have a
Good
Glenhorn
match.
Buccaneer calculator for this stuff.
Yeah,
but I
they'll
think
net 25 extra treasures, and then Freedom Waffle, it'll kill. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
28.
Yeah, 12,
so yeah,
12 activations.
you can
Yep.
see the table here, scooping it up to Josh. Josh pulling out this win, playing super methodically that entire game. Like, just every play was thinking turns and turns in advance with the spell
Yeah.
skite and the Mystic Remora and how he played this out. We knew from the start,
Got
like,
it.
I mean, we play with Josh a lot though. We were
Yeah.
like, this guy's got Glenhorn. And he just played it so well that the rest of the table, even if they knew as well, they couldn't interact with it.
You too.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like it's one of those things where to me, to you, Glinthorn was face up on the table, but there's almost nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah. There really isn't.
And, there's a lot of interaction, but when you get Spellskite online and then you have protection past that, yeah, it's one of those decks that is very inevitable. For me, when I talk about my top 5 decks in the format, it is certainly number 4 or 5 for me.
I did find the Glenhorn Buccaneer calculator, by the way.
Glenhorn Buccaneer calculator? No way.
If you Google "will Glenhorn kill," it asks you to put in the 3 life totals of the opponents and the available mana that the Glenhorn player has, and it just says, like, "it will kill," like from Forged in Fire.
From Forged in Fire, yeah. Doug Markida.
Yeah,
I remember seeing Doug Markida on like YouTube videos before he was on Forged in Fire, and it turns out, he's exactly that guy all the time. What do we got? We got Pod 25, Phantom Legion 1.
Hey, Shauna, our very own.
Wood Tier Ari wins Pod 18. Euchre is so cute wins Pod 17. Wow, you made your name that, so I had to say it. Sharky taking a Pod 7. I think that's all the new wins since then. So we are getting some results in. Good job, Josh.
Yeah, that was a really fun game to watch. And it is really interesting that you bring that up, that how like Glinthorn to us was face up. Like that basically that card was revealed from the start, from the way that we saw Josh play out that hand. And I'm just like, I always am curious if other players like see it the same way and if they plan for it. Because it seemed like people were prepared for the Glenhorn, right? Like we had the swords, we had the counter spell, and Josh just was able to play around it really well. And that Spellskite was just a huge tempo swing for him.
Spellskite is kind of invaluable, I think, in Malcolm decks. I just it helps you dodge so much of the removal that makes your life miserable. Another card that I see pushed in Malcolm decks a lot is Siren Storm Tamer, which is like a daze for effects that target you or a permanent you control on a creature stick that happens to be a pirate. So it's like pretty all right.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
I think it actually is. Yeah. All right, we're going to quickly pop it to an ad break, and we will be right back with some more coverage of round 3 of Mox Masters January.
Our merchandise is now available in our store. You can get playmats, sleeves, dice, coins, and tokens. Right now until the end of January, get 10% off of your order when you enter Mox Masters January at checkout. All sales go to help the channel, so thank you all very much. Playing with Power is excited to announce the first annual Mox Masters Invitational coming in Q3 of 2023. It is an in-person cedh tournament weekend with thousands of dollars in prizes. How do you get to the Invitational? By winning Mox Masters points through your tournaments this year. We award points to the top 32 spots in our tournaments. With enough points, you get an automatic qualification to the Q3 event. Want to go but don't feel ready to participate in Mox Masters? Want to prepare for the Mox Masters tournament themselves? Our webcam Discord league awards Moxmasters points as well. If you subscribe to our Patreon at any tier, you get an automatic entry into our monthly webcam leagues. We award points to the top 10 of the leagues every month. January's registration is already open and there are still some tickets left. You can also sign up to our Patreon and start playing in the league right now. Thank you all for your support, and we will see you at the tournament. We have recently revamped our Patreon, adding a ton of new perks. We are introducing Patreon webcam playdays. Once per month, we will be hosting a playdate on our Discord playing webcam games with all of our patrons. All tiers qualify. We are introducing Patreon exclusive gameplay videos as well. These videos are not available to the public and only for patrons. We are also introducing a new merchandise tier. When you sign up to this tier, you'll receive a merchandise bundle with all kinds of Playing with Power goodies. This revamp is in order to give more to those who already support us. Thank you all very much for your support and sign up today.